Hey everybody, Bob Trade Genius here. It's the 29th of March, and this time hopefully I had to use some different software here. The program that I'm using to do the podcast just won't get rid of the the blank block camera view instead of giving me a full screen. So let's see if this works any better, and we'll take it from here, and we'll see if this will help. So we're doing two things. So I'm recording podcasts and I'm also trying to do these videos for YouTube too. So I'm trying to put it in both places, but I had podcasting software and it's just not smart enough to do both things for me. So off to a different package here. So anyway, hey, I wanted to start off with talking about today. Absolutely an insane day in the market. Totally was not what I expected. We so I'm looking here at the ES, but the first place I wanted to go was I'll get to that in a second. Yesterday we have shrinking VIX, right, which helps propel the market, but we've now had I think three big days in a row, and as the volatility shrinks, they start selling calls into the move, and they start trying to burden it, basically putting sand on the highway to try to start slowing things down like a runaway truck lane. But today they just ripped right through it. They're using narratives now to peace in Russia and Ukraine. Next week it'll be war back on. But they grasp onto these things and they try to lift the market higher, and it blew right through the indicative ranges, and it never really stopped. It came back in momentarily and they ripped it right back up to the top again. But part of what we're dealing with here is also quarterly rebalancing. And with quarterly rebalancing, look, these guys don't want to show they had a big loss for the quarter, so they're doing everything they can to get that index up. And they're still going to fail, but it's better than it was 3 weeks ago. We've had an insane reduction in volatility. It was cut in half. Nothing has changed. So the Fed's still going to raise rates. Energy costs are still too high. Food costs are still too high. Supply chains still disrupted. Yada 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 yada. Biden's still crazy. Everything. And yet they took a derivative, basically it's like an action verb, with you slam volatility, you can lift the markets up, and that's exactly what they did. The yen came in and they did the same thing. They devalued the yen, they squeezed the shorts. I mean, like, all the crappy stocks are getting lifted, so that's how this is going to be a problem when it turns over. So just hang on. And then, of course, they tried to push oil down, and in doing that, that also tried to help lift the market. Although I'll get to oil in a second, it reversed back again. So I think they're going to have a hard time getting oil down until you get production up, because we know they're not going to balance the budget. And Biden comes out with a $5.8 trillion budget on top of it all. So this is what we're dealing with now. So we broke this fib line here at 45.90. 46.82 now is in the cards. That's at our top of our wall here for resistance. So can it get there? Not sure. I can't say it won't with this kind of move, but we've already had an insane move up, almost 500 points on the S&P in 2 weeks. It's people in the industry are flummoxed. This is what happens when you have a motivated Wall Street. They'll do anything. Value means nothing to these people. It's all about driving narratives and trying to make profit for themselves. So this is what you got to deal with. But we're definitely pushing into some problem areas here. This is the daily ES, and it's still lower than if you go out here and look at a weekly. Um, it's still lower than what happened at the beginning of the year, which was up here, okay, at 48.07. So they're still a couple hundred points away. Can they get there? I don't know, but a lot of headwinds coming in their way. So we'll have to wait and see on that. And then here's SPY, of course. Um, SPY hit a fib line and kind of held it. So we'll see if we get a pullback. We should get a pullback sometime this week, just because the rebalancing works that way. But we're coming into the last 2 days and first 2 days of the month, and that's usually bullish. So we'll have to wait and see. And look, worst comes to worst, they can rip this thing all the way up into the Fed meeting on May 3rd and 4th, which I think are going to be pretty aggressive. This sounds great, but this is your opportunity to manage your position size inside of your long-term accounts, because when this thing rolls over again, it could make a lower low down even below the 410 area, and I think that'll freak a lot of people out. So anyway, bear that in mind with that, with SPY here. So I want to show you VIX. This is what we've been dealing with. This right here, 37.43 all the way down to 1876. Here's the 16s right here. So they might be gunning for that. And again, the more they do this basically the collapse of volatility, the more risk is on the stock market. So just have to bear that in mind. So enough on that. So gold, however, very interesting day. They really tried to slam gold down, and gold came back nicely, putting in a hammer. So if you're commodity oriented like I am, yesterday and today weren't the best days for the commodities, but they held up. In fact, half my stuff came back to positive. So this is a very good sign. And now if it can maintain, and this is a weekly on gold, and it's maintaining above the trend band here, which is very important. It's so bullish, 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 has money flow consolidate. So looking at this on a daily was um, went into the green zone and gave us a hammer. So I did this before. I outlined this before in an earlier thing to our clients and said, hey, this was a buy area, and it turned into a buy area. And I think this is going to also be a buy area here. So once it pushes back over 1942, then we'll see if it's going to make a race back towards a double top. A couple of things that we did also, we pointed out with CCJ here. This blue here is the moving VWAP. Okay, we have it set to 21. Anybody can set it, not proprietary to us. And um, we told folks, hey, put a buy limit in at 26.30 and buy it. It put us in first thing in the morning. And so I'm a big fan of uranium, as you'll get to know. And this was a nice move down into the moving VWAP, and it held. So we already moved our stop up for the trade up here to 27.20. So unless it collapses down to here at the at an open, we're going to make money on this trade. It seems to be doing this of late. Come down to the moving VWAP, and then pushing back up into the pink zone here, this red zone resistance area. So I'm suspecting it'll do the same. There's no reason for me not to believe that, and that's what I'm banking on for CCJ. We also did it for Quad U. This one right here, we had a standing buy in at 892. Came back all the way down actually to 850, 892. We were filled and closed up near the highs of the day. Again, we moved our stop up so we'd at least have profit if we need to, and now we'll see if this is going to make another run higher. I'm very bullish on uranium. You should be too. Should be in your long-term portfolio. What I'm talking about here are just some trades to keep an eye on. One of the stocks that I have is Weatherford, and again, this is energy names. They're just not going down, guys. So uh, when energy maintains this pricing level, these companies are all going to get valued much, much, much higher. So just bear that in mind. You don't have to worry too much about energy. They're going to have a hard time getting it down. The Biden administration is not pro oil and gas, and so they're going to keep this thing chronically in crisis mode. And it's going to take a lot of political will and a lot of anger from the folk out here in flyover country to get their attention, and I think they will. And you'll start seeing then price of oil will then start to ameliorate. But until then, you're going to get some good moves in the in the energy names. Let's see what else is there interest here. Um, Again, Suburban Propane Partners is one you want to own. Also, 8.8% dividend. The propane is at deficit, and again, it came down, touched the. This time, it just touched the trend band and was supported. So again, this is a good one to own longer term. I'm going to try to own at least a year. The dividend's really nice, and I'm very interested in it. TNX. Okay, first time we're starting to get a little bit of a sell in the 10-year. Again, when they sold the bonds off, they had to run into the stock market. These are all manipulations or manipulating algos. So you got algos manipulating algos to drive changes in the indexes. So they threw everything at this liftoff. The bonds, the yen, the volatility, the short squeeze, and so now I think it's starting to exhaust itself. As the 10-year goes down, it's going to put pressure on the stock market, just FYI. Or because pressure in the stock market is going to bring the 10-year down. Don't know if it's chicken or egg, but it's definitely pushed up pretty high here. It's getting to a point now where if it breaks over this, it will start doing some serious damage to companies, and there's some things you need to be aware of and worried about. I'm going to flip over into my filter here and look at a few things and see if there's anything of interest on my charts. A lot of stocks recaptured their daily moving VWAP. Okay, now that's good and bad. The good is that it's happening. The bad is if they roll back down again in the next day or two, it's a fake out breakout. So we have some names here. So I'm only interested if I have multiple filter hits, and so that's what I'm going to look at now. So we look at here is what I find this is funny is that you get these companies like Wayfair was interesting. Here's an energy name Drillquip, DRQ. That one looks like might be an opportunity for it to go back up to the $40. And just so you know, $35 to $40 is more than a 10% move. So I would take that in a month any day of the week. If you're a sports gambler, DraftKings getting a bit of a bid. This one kind of already took off on us. It came right out of the box, smoking hot. Really couldn't get to it. And then you have, see here, anything else of interest to me down here? Novavax, interesting. It's been flatlining. This is the vaccine company that's not RNA. It's a little different way of doing it. For those who are want to be vaccinated but don't want to take an RNA vaccine, this one, when it comes out, would be the one that you'd probably be most interested in. So let's go over here and take a look at a few more things. Overstocks in the same category as the Wayfair. If these retail stocks go, be interesting to watch. Okay. Fubo, the TV company, I don't know. It's already started giving up the day here. Not too sure I'm too excited about it, but caught my eye. Here's a pharmaceutical company that might be interesting. Maybe a push up to the Bollinger Band here, 230 from 218. 20-cent move, potential 5 or 6%. Might be something of interest for you. And let's see if there's anything else here I want to show you. So don't want to give you dead air here. I own this company here. This is Can Alaska Uranium, but they're more than just uranium. They're also a nickel producer. So something to keep an eye on. Because obviously they're going to push hard for renewables in the budget, and you need nickel, and we'd prefer to get it in the United States if we can. For people that are interested in the fertilizer, MOS came down, touched this moving VWAP, and popped. One that has not yet, but it's been a fast riser. Keep an eye on this one is IPI. Broke down below it, came back up. Watch for follow through on this one too. This thing had a heck of a move. I'll go back into my other chart here. Is IPI. So here's IPI. Came down, touched the moving VWAP and bounced. That was a $6 bounce. off of that. We'll see if it comes back, tries to fill again, or if it's going to start to take off. I'm watching for money flow here to 0 and 0, and that might be my opportunity to get back into IPI. But this thing has gone from 45 to $90 in 1 month, so it doubled. And fertilizer is going to be expensive, I think, for the next couple of years. And then there's some alternatives to mining it, called brining it. And so, but that's going to take sustained higher prices for them to make that a profitable, endeavor across the board or at greater quantities. So I think that's pretty much it. The only other thing keep an eye on is look for a reversal in. I'll go over it here real quick. And I'm jumping around because I'm just doing a review here, just trying to find some opportunities for us. So let's see if this is the one here. Yeah, the VIX VVIX. Okay, so this is the VVIX is the moving average of moving averages of the VIX. So it's showing the acceleration of the VIX. This is the opposite way. So when this is moving up, we're having basically a crush of volatility, and then when this gets up, this is my husky's crying because my wife walked out the door. So sorry about that. You have to listen to that. So this is a push up. Okay, it came up to the 145. This is not really meaningful to the uh, to these derivative kind of or ratios, but the important thing is to watch for this to start to turn back. This is way out of bounds in terms of the its move. This is basically an algo walk straight up, but it's pretty stretched right now. And you can see here when we got into February in the last short squeeze, it got up to 610 area. And so it's pretty hard for these to maintain these pretty high moves, and it'll start to tail back off again, and that's when the market will start to soften again. So just keep that in mind. These moves like this will tend to fade, and we'll get a reversal. But just keep an eye on. You can build your own ratio VVIX over VIX, and if you want to flip it VIX over VVIX, that way you get the market will move in the direction of these candles. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed the video here, and I'm going to go ahead and flip this thing off for now, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. See you later.